Using essential oils to battle the flu and cold seasons does not have to be expensive. Let me introduce you to Terry Arthur of Fragrance of Heaven. She sells off the shelf and online with a very low overhead, thus being able to pass on the savings to you of her 100% pure certified essential oils. Yes, you heard me right. Listen in. Welcome back. This is TotallyT, your solutions girl, joined by Anita Corrigan, my co-host, and Terry Arthur of Fragrance of Heaven. Terry has a niche with essential oils, and since we've been talking about the flu and cold season and different alternatives that we can use to help boost our immune system, even fight off flus, colds, some people will say viruses. Terry, you have a niche in the market. It's a little bit different than other companies that have essential oils. Why don't you tell us about your 100% certified pure essential oils?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. So with essential oils, I have gotten into essential oils for many years, and actually my sister is the one that kind of introduced me to them years ago. So I joined one of the top two companies and loved the essential oils, but the only problem was they were very expensive. So fast forwarding to 2.5 years ago, I had an opportunity to develop my very own 100% certified pure essential oils and be able to offer them at a affordable price to everyone. Like I said, these are 100% certified pure. I do have all of the documentation and everything proving what I say. I actually have the COOs and the COAs as well. All of my products are GCMS certified as well. Now then, here locally, I have 4 doctors, 3 PAs, and a number of dietitians that do now send me their patients for education and essential oils.
And tell us about what would you suggest, the different types of essential oils that people need to stock up on, make sure that they have in their cabinet? Which ones would you choose and why?
So I get asked that a lot. Terry, what's your medicine cabinet look like? During your cold and flu season, I use Armor. This is my Armor. We also do Breath of Life and oregano. Armor, that helps build your immune system. It also helps purify and get the junk out of the air. Here at my shop, during cold and flu season, this is what I'm diffusing all the time. Mm-hmm. Breath of Life, this is going to open up the airways. It also has some cardamom in it, which is like an antispasmodic and an anti-inflammatory. So if you get that awful tickle cough, you can put a drop of that in your hand, rub it together, cup it over your hands and mouth, or over your nose and mouth, and breathe it in deep. It's going to stop that cough. Also, if you've got a little bit of a wheezing, you can open that up with that. Then oregano. Oregano is like it has an antiviral, antibiotic, antimicrobial effect. So when you diffuse all 3 of those together, it's kind of hitting all those elements. It's building your immune system. It's knocking the virus and junk out of the air. And the Breath of Life is helping keeping your airways open. How I apply those, this is really important. All of our hands and our feet are our nerve endings, and arteries and veins end up in those elements. I don't know if I can show you. I'm going to try to show you this. But I've got some hand and feet charts that show all of that. And so, for instance, if you take those 3 products that I just told you about, Armor, Breath of Life, and oregano, and you do a little dime size of a coconut oil in your hand, and you do a drop of each of those 3, rub it in and massage it into the bottom of the feet, that hits all of your organ points. So I do this every night and every morning during the cold and flu season, and it just works. Our mother had, she diffuses this all the time. She had broken her ribs, so coughing would be horrible for her. Getting sick would be horrible for her. So this is what she's done, during this cold and flu season as well. And we're super happy to report she's not been sick. So also the next thing is belly button oiling. Belly button oiling is phenomenal. You know, right after conception, the first thing that is formed is all 72,000 veins and arteries are formed. It attaches to the placenta, to the mom, becomes the umbilical cord. So when we are born and we lose our umbilical cord, all 72,000 veins and arteries are still there in our belly button. So an article was sent to me, and because I'm not in the medical profession, I am not a medical doctor, I have no medical degree behind me whatsoever, but because I have these people that send me their patients, that article intrigued me, so I sent that information to them, and I said, hey, I can totally understand a lot of this, and I kind of think a lot of it's true, but give me your feedback on the medical side. And they said, absolutely, it makes perfect sense. Well, all of those 72,000 veins and arteries, when you put something in your belly button, whatever vein or artery needs that, it's going to suck it up. One of the things that caught my attention was thyme oil, which we pronounce it thyme oil, in the belly button will clear out the mucus and the junk in the chest and in the chest, lungs, and airways. So my husband and I had been dealing with that upper respiratory junk that everybody's had, but there was no fever, no production of cough. It was just an annoyance. So after these doctors told me, yes, it makes sense, I told my husband, well, let's try that. So what we did is I cut a cotton ball into quarters. I did 6 drops of coconut oil, 3 drops of thyme oil, put it on that cotton ball. We put it in our belly button. And I used a Band-Aid because I sleep on my side. And when James and I woke up the next morning, we noticed that we were about 50% clear. We're like, oh my gosh, this is cool. We did it again the second night. We were about 90% clear. The third night and the next morning, we were 100% clear. So it worked. I've had many people come in here and do the same thing with the same results. Here's my only warning. Do not do that by itself. You've got to have coconut oil. It is a hot oil. That is a very thin layer of skin, and it will be very hot, could blister it, cause it to pimple also. I also believe that you do not need to do that belly button oiling any more than 4 days. You need to let that open up and air out as well. Be sure that you're cleaning your belly button every morning also. So those are kind of the 4 essential oils that I use and my family uses, and I send people with for the cold and flu season. I do have a number of school teachers that diffuse those 3 oils in their classrooms because kids are going to be hacking, coughing, and all of that good rot too, and that just helps. And Tony, I had listened to yours and Anita's talk that you did the other day, and the onion is super important. I had been telling the teachers that come in here, if you will do this, strategically cut an onion, set it in different parts of your classroom, that virus, bacteria, and stuff is going to settle into those onions. And they didn't listen to me the first year, but now all of them do it. And I told them as a science experiment, you could take that onion after a week, and you do need to dispose of that onion every week. So I'm talking about the classroom. And have them dissect it and look at it underneath the microscope and see what you see. It has been a really interesting science experiment for some of these teachers as well. So it works. But yes, the onion, I can't agree more. Be sure, I have it strategically placed throughout the shop. I cut it on a Sunday to get the stinky onion smell out, and then I'll bring it up here and put it in Monday. So totally agree with that as well.
Well, I actually learned that from you. So thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Anita, I know that you use her essential oils, but before you found out about her, you've always been using essential oils. So tell us, Why do you like these essential oils? Why did you decide to go that direction? And also take the floor. I know that you have some questions, some like sciencey kind of questions for Terry as well.
Thanks, Tony. I really am so excited to give people tools in their toolbox that are going to be highest, what we call efficacy. They work, period. It's not something where we're going to be practicing medicine here. This is just things that God created in their most pure natural state, performing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, she's mentioned a few different ones, and I use pretty much all of them, and there's some others I need to replenish as we go into this wonderful season of enhanced viruses, and they're like becoming super viruses. And so you need to be super vigilant. That's all it means to me. It's not scary. It is just a exclamation point that we need to be paying attention. And so can you talk about why the carrier, you're using the extra virgin coconut oil, fractionated oil, and why that is significant? And I understand those oils, you call them hot oils, they are chemically hot naturally. And so why do you choose the coconut oil?
So you can use basically any type of carrier. You could use your extra virgin olive oil. You could use almond E, all those type of oils, even jojoba. The reason I like coconut oil is because it stays good for a very long time. It's also a great fat as well. So your jojoba oil, E oil, olive oil, those can turn rancid if you don't use them fast enough. But the coconut oil goes further for me. And you're exactly right. When I said hot oil, so for instance, cinnamon is a hot oil, meaning that if you put it on your skin, you more than likely are going to have a reaction to the heat or saying, oh, that burns. That's what I'm talking about, a hot oil. Also, this is an interesting fact. If you use an essential oil, neat, meaning you only use it straight. Neat means you don't add anything to it, such as your coconut or jojoba oil. But if you put an oil on your skin and it begins to feel hot or burn, or you feel like it's rashy, never, ever, ever use water and soap to get that off. Water and soap will intensify an oil. So if you ever get to that point and it's hot or itching or whatever, grab another oil, such as coconut, olive oil, rub it directly on to where you had that, and it will stop that burning or any of that sensation, because what is it doing? It's diffusing it down. It's diluting it down.
Excellent, excellent information. I have a little bit of knowledge about coconut oil and why it is so nutritious to the body. It's a medium chain fatty acid. It actually is absorbed as a nutrient as well into whatever surface of your skin you apply it to. Now, this is particularly important when you're dealing with infants and when you're dealing with children, because their skin is very sensitive. And the skin is the second biggest organ of the body. And sometimes people say, wait a minute, I thought it was the biggest organ of the body. No, it's not. Actually, it's your blood veins and your vessels. It's your largest organ of your body. Remembering that, when you apply something to the skin, it goes right into the circulatory system. So now that gets carried throughout all of those veins and arteries. And so now you've plugged into the largest transport system that keeps this little edifice functioning well. And I like the fact that, you saw a concept out there when you saw the use of this as an amateur practitioner. You're not practicing medicine. You're just supplying people with tools for their toolbox. And I want people to look at this not as a medicinal thing, because food is medicine, but people don't treat it like that. It's the most powerful medicine is food. And the oils you're talking about are things that are derived in nature. And that is the best medicine. Now, it's in a concentrated form here. Thus, it has very high efficacy. And when you're talking about applying this to your feet are going to be the least reactive skin on the body, right? And so, because they're a little bit more calloused, and they tend not to have severe allergic reactions, and they take a lot of assault. They're designed to do that. And for people that are not keen on taking pills or something like that, or children, and especially children with special learning styles that may have some sensitivities to textures, to taste, and you can't administer, this is a ideal alternative to give them tools to help their body get better. So I love this, the belly button and the feet. You can apply this to other parts of the body where there's high lymphatic activity. And, we could talk about this for the next 2 to 3 hours, because us science nerds love to get together and talk about things like this. And when we can help other people, it's really my passion. I'm really kind of a doctor.
One thing to say.
Go ahead.
About kids. Infants up to about 2 years, I literally tend to shy away from anything being put on the body because their skin is so delicate. And there are certain things that you don't want to diffuse from like newborn to 4 to 6 months, such as lavender, because it does relax the body so much. So you definitely need some education on your infancies and your babies, and absolutely do not use the oils on their skin. That's just something I practice here, because they're so fragile and their little skin is so pure and so uncalloused, like the bottom of the feet. And so that's number one. When people come in, I want to know how old the kids are before we start dealing with anything applying to the body.
Excellent.
We did the video that Terry was talking about, Get to Prepping and Why. And in that, we did mention the essential oils. We did direct to this video we're about to cut. And so what I wanted to bring out on this is you need to go online, find the name of the essential oil that you're using, because a lot of these oils you can use for multiple purposes. So you might get thyme for one reason, but it might be able to be used for other reasons as well, and you wouldn't know it unless you looked it up, printed it out, put it in one of those protective plastic sleeves, get you a 3-ring binder, put it in there, and then that way, if you're stuck, another symptom or something happens, you can always go and look, like, what do I have? Can I use this? And so in the armor, Terry's going to have on the bottle all the different types of oils that are in that blend. So you'll be able to look that up as well. And Terry, tell them how to reach you.
You can follow me on Facebook, and that is Fragrance of Heaven Candles on Facebook. And I do have a website, and that is fragranceofheavencandles.com. One thing I did not say is my pricing. I think it's real important to know the pricing. I do have all the single oils that start with the letter B, like basil, all the way to Y, which is yang ylang. My essential oils average $6 to $18. I have 24 different types of blends, which Breath of Life and Armor are one of those blends, but mine are $12. Now, I do believe I have all of my essential oils on that website. I need to get busy. I procrastinate on working on the website, number one, because it takes time, and I don't ever want to sit down and do that. But if there is not an oil on there, by all means, call me. And another thing, Tony, I wanted to be sure and say, I know a lot of people enjoy internally digesting essential oils. All of my oils are FCC compliant, but I do like to teach hand and foot therapy and inhalation. I deal with far too many people that don't understand the purity of an oil. These are 100% certified pure. Your liver is a filter. And so when I tell you 1, maybe 2 drops, that's what I mean. I don't mean 10 to 15 drops, because that is an over saturation of these oils, and it turns toxic. So you can get just as many great benefits inhalation wise, belly button wise, and in your hands and your feet. So, but I would love to visit with people about it. This is my heart and my passion. And this is exactly what my family and I do as well. So absolutely give me a shout.
Anita, you have any last comments so we can let her open up her shop?
I would say that Terry has a plethora of information for you. If you're a person who actually just does really enjoy burning candles, I would say this is probably the premier candle that I know of on the planet, knowing you're not going to be putting toxins into the air. And also, Terry, you have information for people who have pets. Not all things that you want to burn in a candle or diffuse are going to be beneficial to your pets. We want to make sure we're doing beneficial things for the whole family. So I would say that we could have a whole session on that alone.
Yes.
So reach out to Terry Arthur of Fragrance of Heaven. Her website is fragranceofheavencandles.com. And as Terry had mentioned, she has a lot more oils and more blends that she needs to add to the website. So if you're looking for something in particular and it's not there, reach out to her through her Facebook, which is Fragrance of Heaven Candles. And also what she was talking about, the information about the belly button is actually pinned to the top. That would be great for you to click that open, download it, print that out, put it in your 3-ring binder. So Terry, thank you so much for your time. We love talking about you, and I love using your essential oils. You do ship this, right? I mean, they can.
Yes, all over. I ship all over the United States, even ship to New Zealand. Now, I will warn you, shipping is expensive when you go overseas. But yes, I will ship anywhere.
Thanks for joining us. All the links will be below. Contact Terry on Facebook at Fragrance of Heaven Candles or her website below. Good health to you all. This has been TotallyT, your solutions girls.